I don't know how many parts I'm going to have to make of this, but my storage is really spasming on me, so I'm going to continue, and I don't even remember where I was. Okay, so there's 5 people left of the final 5 of Survivor Micronesia Season 16. Four, at this point, there was 4 women against 1 ice cream scooper because Eric wins immunity at the final 6, and then that forced the 5 women to be against each other, and then Alexis got voted out. So it was 4 women left against 1 ice cream scooper, male ice cream scooper. We have Parvati, Amanda, Cirie, and Natalie, all 4 women, against 1 lone male, Eric. So Eric, at Final 5, you'd think that he would have saved himself, because at Final 5, he wins immunity. Again, keeping him safe, no one can vote him. So the women were looking at each other, and they're like, oh man, we have to go against each other again. First we got Alexis out the final 6, and now he's going on he's steamrolling these challenges. He's going to win the season. He's going to win the season. He's just going to keep on winning. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. One of us women better win this game. And they really wanted it to be one of those women to win the game. And they really didn't want to have to vote each other out. So there was something that was introduced in Season 4 of the show. So the first 3 seasons, they didn't do this. In Season 4, there was this introduction to something where if you win immunity, you can give it to someone. So from Seasons 1 to 3, if you win immunity, it's yours, it's non-transferable. Season 4, before anybody has voted, Jeff's like, hey, do you have the immunity necklace? I'm assuming you don't want to do anything crazy. Do you want to keep it and keep yourself safe? Or do you want to assign it to somebody else, keep them safe, and you're no longer safe? So this seems like a really terrible move on paper to do. Like, why would you give up your necklace? It's one of the most powerful things you can have. But apparently Eric didn't think that. So let me explain. Eric gives away immunity at the final 5. He gives it away. And this took a lot of crafting to do. It was so hard. But they were really good at it. So first Natalie goes up and says, hey, you give me your necklace tonight. And then Eric's like, I'm not even going to consider that. And then Natalie's like, hear me out. We will all vote Amanda if you give me that necklace. And the only way how I know for sure that you aren't going to vote for me is if you give me that necklace. Because we're not going to vote you. We're not going to vote Amanda if you don't give me that necklace. So he's like, okay, kind of making sense. And he was sort of like nibbling on the bait around this point. And they were just ready to just stir him out and catch him. But they were nibbling around the bait a little bit, Eric was nibbling around the bait. He was considering giving it up. And then Cirie goes over and is like, if you were to give up immunity and give it to Natalie, I would believe you that you wouldn't write Natalie's name down. And I would believe that you would vote Amanda. And if you do that, that would cue me that we are all on the same page and we're going to vote Amanda out. So at this point in the game, Eric really wanted Amanda out. He changed his mind right before the vote, saying, actually, I'm still going to give away the next to Natalie, but let's vote Parvati instead. So it ended up being Parvati as the new target, but Amanda was viewed as a target before that. So Eric thinks that the plan going into Tribal Council is to vote Parvati out. So then Eric gives up immunity, and these women were giggling. They were so happy because they all came together after the challenge, and they're like, and Cirie told Natalie, you don't think you could convince Eric to give you the necklace, could you? And then Amanda was like, oh my god, you can convince him. And it actually ended up working. And then Eric then gives up the necklace, and then they all go up to vote. You get a voting confession where you get to say something when you go up to vote. They usually don't air them, but in this case they did. Parvati flips over the card, and with Eric's name on it, you're crazy. You officially go down as the dumbest survivor in the history of Survivor, ever. And then Cirie goes up and is like, my mom told me you may not be able to beat him with these all the time, but you can always, like the head, the brain, but you can always beat, no, wait, hold on. That's not what she said. Let me rephrase that, scrap that. You may not be able to beat him with these all the time, but you can always beat him with this. Sorry. And I thought that was so badass. And Natalie was like, I don't even know what to say. Thank you. And Amanda just like, I can't believe it. She just couldn't believe it that he gave up that necklace. All 4 of them wrote Eric's name down after he gave up the necklace. Dumbest move ever. It's considered the dumbest move ever. People talk about it all the time. It's like, why would you give that up? You're safe. You're going home if you give it up, and you're going to the final 4 with a strong chance of just steamrolling all the other challenges. because they were worried about Eric. He kept on winning challenges, and they thought that he could just keep on winning them. So they had to make this move of trying to convince him to give up his necklace. It worked. They blindside him 4-1. He goes home. It was absolutely badass move, and one of the reasons why I still watch to this day. So I have that. I don't have that number 3, but the fans have it number 3. Number 2, Dead Grandma Lie. So there was this guy named Johnny Fairplay. It was the final 7 of season 7 of Survivor, Pearl Islands. It started with 16 people. 7 people are left at season 7 of the show. So at this point, they have something that I haven't talked about yet, the loved ones visit. So at a certain point in the game, it's usually in between final 10 and final 4. It always changes when they do it. It's the loved ones visit, where they get to bring one loved one out by their choice before the game. So they basically say, hey, if you make it to the loved ones visit and you're still in the game at that point, you don't get voted out up until that point, you're going to get a loved one. So Johnny Fairplay, this other guy, was probably going to bring out like somebody he's a little bit more connected with, maybe his like brother or his mom or his dad. But he decides to bring his best friend out because he knew that he was the only one that would agree to do something for him that could drastically change his fate in the game. His friend's name, or nickname, was Thunder D. So he gets brought out, and he's like, woo, what's up, man? And then he's like, final 7. And then they just hug. It's like, what up, man? It's really great to see you. It's been a long time. It's really hard out here. It's great to see you. And then Johnny Fairplay was like, oh, dude, how's grandma? And he's like, what? How's grandma? She died, dude. And he's like, he's very disappointed. He's very disappointed. And he's like, did you get the letter? Thunder D's like, did you get the letter? And he's like, no. And then Johnny Fairplay went back to his seat, and he's like, it was either going to be my my buddy or my grandma coming, and my grandma's not here for a reason. And Jeff Probst, the host of the show, who hosts everything, the challenges, the tribal councils, was like, what happened? And Johnny Fairplay's like, she's not around. So, and then Jeff, wished condolences, said sorry for that news, and then everybody feels really bad for him. So this was the type of challenge where basically it was like walk the plank, where you do a quiz, and if you get a question right, then you get to choose one person to back up and go closer to falling off the plank. So Johnny Fairplay knew that the challenge would be something like this, which is why he set up this whole idea about the dead grandma. And then everybody feels bad for him, and then everybody else just falls off the plank, leaving